What is up, Define Squad? Welcome, 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 and welcome back. If you are not new here, it's your girl Alex at Defined by Alex, where we are defining our lives and building our dreams, y'all. What is up? I hope you guys are doing well. So in today's video, I'm going to be, changing it up per the usual. And I'm going to be showing you how you can use the PPD Photo Direct Heat Transfer paper that you can find off Amazon. I'm going to be recreating this design that you guys see here, okay? It's more of a, kind of like a offset, type of design. And as I rub my finger on it, this is all paper. This is not vinyl, okay? So I'm about to show you how you can design that from start to finish, and ultimately, hope that you can enhance and level up your t-shirt game using this method. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm about to hop on my computer, share my screen, so that way you can see how to get started as well. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks. So real quick, this is where you can find the PPD transfer paper. For those of you who are new here, I have talked about this before, but for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to show you where you can get it from, and just so you can see like what I'm using, so that way when you search for it, you find it. But this is what I'll be using today for the demo of how you can use heat transfer paper on t-shirts and all that good stuff, okay? So go ahead and go to Amazon. I'll also leave the link in the description box below. So y'all already know, go ahead and check that out for me. And then that way you can have, your own stash. But just to show you that it also comes in for dark fabrics too. So this one in particular is for light fabrics. So as you can see, this one you have to press on like white shirts, sand shirts, lighter shirts, and things like that. But then you also have the one that shows for the darker fabrics down here below. And so again, I just wanted to show you guys what I'm using, so that way you can go ahead and grab it for yourself if you're interested. All right, so let's get into it. So this is the design that I'm about to pretty much recreate. It's just the girl boss. I went ahead and used a font that I downloaded from thefonts.com, and then I added an offset. Now, I will not be demoing how to create this design from start to finish. However, if you are interested in learning how to create t-shirt designs on your own, then I do have a course for you that will walk you through the entire process. It is a comprehensive training that just helps you get started when you're starting your t-shirt business, and it's very, free of intimidation. You don't need graphic design skills. You can just get started, start on your own, and just make something and, just call it a day. So I'll leave that in the description box below for you guys as well, so that way you can get your hands on it and you can start designing your t-shirts all on your own and feeling good about it, okay? So boom. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate this. Just as a few tips to point out, when it comes to your registration marks, y'all, your design has to fit inside of this canvas, okay? Another thing to point out, as you can see from my silhouette cameo space, this is my cutting mat. My page will not come down to the bottom, only because the paper is just like regular like copy paper as far as like the dimensions. So you have 8 by 5 by 11, okay? So when you're making your settings, just be sure to match the size of your PPD paper or whatever heat transfer paper you choose to use, because your silhouette is going to pick that up, okay? So make sure your dimensions match, which if you don't know, you can go to this paper icon and page setup, and you can change things like that as well. And then, keep it moving. As far as the registration marks here, you can go ahead and click those on. Depending on your Silhouette Studio, sometimes the upgrades can delay. So some people have their registration marks when they first open up their studio, and some of them do not. What I would say is just if you don't have them on there, it'll just look just like this. So all you have to do is select on, and you'll see, the registration marks and everything like that. Another thing to point out is that you also just want to make sure that your design is not touching this gray part as well. The cameo will pick that up, and it will not read your registration marks the way that you want it to, okay? So before I move on, if you are having issues with your registration marks, then I do suggest that you go ahead and check out my video where I teach you how to master printing on your registration marks using your Silhouette Cameo. So I'll leave that down below for you guys as well. So that way you can go ahead and check that video out and then come back and start designing if you want to. Okay, so this is what I made. It's just a literally typography with an offset design, and I'm about to send it to my Cameo and then just cut it out and then show you guys the rest. All right, y'all, so here's what I'm looking like in my office. Got a lot going on, but this is just to show you guys what I'll be using today. My laptop, here's my ring light, and I'll show you why I have a ring light here in just a moment. Cutting mat, my Cameo, of course, my heat press, my shirt, and then here's the PPD paper. So I wanted to point out some things so you guys can see it for yourself. So before I load my one sheet into my printer, this is what the light fabric PPD paper will look like, and it's pink, so it kind of gives you another indication to use this on lighter fabrics. Okay, and then here is what the dark fabric one will look like, so give you a darker color to also indicate to use this on dark fabrics. And then here they are too. I also wanted to point out why it's important to have your page setup settings correct, because here is what the printer paper, you know, this is the size, and then here's the size of the PPD paper. Okay, so you guys can see why I was stressing the importance of making sure that your page setup settings are correct, so that way your Cameo can read it properly and it will mess up your design. Alrighty, a few of you have been asking me what printer I'm using, and so hopefully you can see this is the HP Envy 6055. This is an inkjet printer. One thing I will point out, you guys, is that you do not have to use the one that I'm using. You can use any inkjet printer or a laser jet printer. One thing that you just have to do is do your research on, you know, what type of paper to use with your printer. Okay, so I believe, yeah, so like this one indicates inkjet, so that's why I know to, you know, I got an inkjet printer. But in case it didn't, I feel like the quality will come out a little bit different, but I'll still be able to use it. But nonetheless, if you're really just trying to make sure it comes out perfect every time, just go ahead and make sure it matches the paper that you're using, okay? So that way it's just less hassle for you. So again, it doesn't have to be this specific one, but if you guys are interested in this one, then I'll link it for you below. I got it from Best Buy. It was around $150. So this is my old faithful. I love it. I've never had any issues with this printer, so we're gonna be here for a long time. Okay, so let me go ahead and show y'all the whole process. We're about to get into it so you can see how to go from your blank t-shirt to essentially showing you how to get this design. Okay, guys, so this is what it looks like just before I'm about to start printing. I'm gonna go ahead and select print. And now I want to show you guys my settings. I do have a MacBook, so my screen may look a little different from, you know, Windows and things like that. You can still achieve it with your Windows, you know, so no worries in that department. I'm just going to change my printer. And when it comes down to your paper type, not sure what Windows offer, but if you do have a MacBook, then I'm going to suggest you use the paper type that says Specialty Paper Matte. Okay, do not do auto select, so you have to change your paper type settings as well, and that's what I'm doing here. All right, so boom, you guys see I already created this, so my settings are already there, but I just wanted to point that out to y'all. And so I'm going to go ahead and send this to the printer, let it do its thing. But to go back to this ring light and why I have it, so like I said, I do have a registration video to help you master your registration marks using your Cameo, and the most important feature is making sure that your sensor has a direct light source. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I'm using my ring light. You can use your phone with your flashlight. One thing that I say is that whatever you use, just make sure that it's directed, you know, that it's pointing towards the sensor and the feeder, so that way it's going to pick up your registration marks. Okay, so if you're wondering why I have this big old ring light right here, it's just simply because I really want my Cameo to pick up the registration marks, and I don't want to have to do it again You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's for. All right, y'all, so here's what it looks like. So you're gonna load the paper this side up, okay? Because when it prints, or depending on how your printer is, I guess. For mine, I have to load it this side facing up, so that way it prints on the right side. But as you guys can see here, registration marks, boom, boom, one at the bottom, okay? And so here's my cutting mat. I still have yet to get a new one, y'all, so just don't mind all the crustiness on it. But I'm just going to line it up. Oh, I almost dropped my ring light. I'm going to line it up here on the corners, just very gently. Okay. Now, one thing you want to make sure is that when you press this to seal, do not press your registration marks because you can smudge them, okay? And the Cameo won't pick that up either. So just make sure you press outside of the registration marks, okay? I pretty much just like do a little pat down, and as y'all can see, this is what it looks like. So lining up literally right at the start of the numbers, or whatever side you use. This is not the number side, this side is at the bottom, but either way, line it up with the corners, okay? Now, let's go ahead and load it. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and load it. All right. Perfect. Y'all see that it's in there too. Let me also just mention this real quick. So these little feeders right here, you can adjust them. And one thing that you want to make sure is that because this doesn't take up the entire cutting mat, you want to make sure this doesn't shift when you go to cut it, okay? And so what that basically means is you have a lever off to the side where you can lift it, and I can slide this right here, you know, but because I know there's no paper over here, I don't want this to shift. So instead, I'm going to just squeeze the button and slide it over to where it's secure, and I'll lock it back in place, okay? And so now I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I have my light over here. You guys see my hand. My light is over here to the left. I'm going to scoot it a wee bit closer so that way I know that the sensor marks are going to be picked up. Let me send it to the Cameo now. Alright, cool. So you guys can't see, but let me go ahead and get a little bit close and personal. Sorry, you guys. The thing that my camera's on is on this last little stretch, okay? So now, let me show you how to take this off. So here's this little spatula. I got this from Michael's. I actually got it in like a kit. Like this is actually a Silhouette Cameo product, and or a Silhouette America product. And basically it comes with this little spatula. And then I also got their version of a weeding tool. So in case you're wondering, I got this from Michael's. So I'm going to use this to get the design off, and I'm going to be very, very gentle. So doesn't matter where you start. I'm just going to start from the S. And yes, I'm still on my cutting mat, y'all. You're not going to damage anything, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to take the spatula and just, as y'all see, I'm just scraping it. Okay. Now this is paper, so you want to be careful. And I'm just taking my time here. You guys see how it's coming off. Go ahead and lift that up too. Just make sure you're not cutting or ripping anything. So just take your time on this part. But this is ultimately what you want. You don't want any resistance when you're experimenting, or if you want to go this route when it comes to making designs, okay? So go ahead and take your time. Now you guys can see this is what it looks like, okay? All right, y'all, so in this next part, you gotta kind of move a little fast, because what can happen is that the ends are gonna curl up, and because of the heat and, you know, just how the temperature is, the paper is gonna want to curl. So in order to prevent that, I just say you move kind of quickly. So as soon as you scrape it off of your base from your Cameo, go ahead and apply it, and then just watch it to make sure it doesn't do what it's doing to me right now. So I'm praying that it doesn't curl on the actual press. So let me go ahead and get that done now. But as you guys can see, I'm just finessing it for just as long as to explain this part. So this piece of paper right here is the tissue paper. This is highly important to use when you're using this paper, okay? So do not just press this without any protection, because you don't want to tarnish the paper with a direct heat source. You're going to want to use your tissue paper, so that way it's protected, okay? So that's that. It might roll a little bit, y'all can already tell from the edges, but we're just going to see. But on top of using your tissue paper that already comes with the PPD paper, okay, so it's all together, you're going to also want to use a Teflon sheet. This is what I use just for the double protection, and I believe on the instructions it advises you to use a Teflon sheet as well. So just to keep you a heads up, that's what you got to use for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and press this. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. Okay, so it did roll up on me, but it's okay. I just know next time to just move a little bit faster. But as you guys can see, this is what it actually should look like. So I do have a better final review, I would say, for y'all, instead of the one I just kind of messed up. But this is what you're gonna get. Now, like I said, when you're done scraping it from your Cameo, don't apply it to your shirt with the heat press on right away, because it can curl up, and that's what happened to me. So as you can see on the G, it looks kind of funky, and then the B as well, but it's all right. I hope you guys just get the concept of how you can use the paper, because ultimately that's just what I wanted to make sure you guys got. So that's the final look. And again, I used the light transfer paper for the white fabric. This one comes with 20 sheets. It gives you your dimensions, what type of printer you need to use, and all that good stuff, okay? And then it also tells you can achieve this with an iron in case you don't have a heat press. So you can definitely do this with just items you have at home, especially if you have a printer and an iron, and, you know, call it a day. Make you a cute little shirt, play around with some things, and this is what it looks like. This is obviously the messed up side, but this is what it should look like. And that's all. Okay, y'all, so that is how you can create, you know, new designs using a new method, which is the heat transfer paper. And you can create the same design that I made, just play around with it. But most importantly, guys, this video was to show you guys different ways to use your heat press and different ways to level up your t-shirt business, okay? Boom. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below for your girl. Let me know what other videos you guys are interested in seeing from me. But nonetheless, y'all, don't forget to drink your water, mind your business, and always choose yourself first. And I'll be back in my next video. Bye, y'all.